Welcome back to another edition, I guess, of Talking with Soup. My guest today is photographer to the stars, Ryan Russell. How you doing, man?
I'm tired.
Yeah, it's crazy that you're tired. We just got Stumptown coffee, and I am fucking wired from it. Like, I'm having
ready
trouble.
for another.
Like, my hands are going. I don't drink a lot of coffee, and it's strong coffee.
You're definitely a little guy, though. So.
I'm a little guy, and I'm not a big coffee drinker, and I'm shaking from it a little bit.
Caffeine puts me to sleep, so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a thing that someone used to tell me in high school. That like one of my friends was like, "Coffee just puts me to sleep," and I'm like, I think that's physically impossible.
I think that's how you tell if you have ADHD or not.
If that's how it is, yeah.
Caffeine puts you to sleep.
Yeah. Well, so you just moved here. We're in Seattle. You moved here from Birmingham, Alabama. What spurred the move? Like, what sparked the interest in moving? Pretty much to the furthest place you can move in the continent.
Literally the exact opposite. It's one of those things that could make up some story and be like, oh, I moved here because I wanted to explore and all that kind of stuff. I did it because my girlfriend lived here, and one of us had to move, and so it's a lot easier to take photos here and move my job than it is for her to just uproot and come to the south. Plus, there's really not much humidity here, and so I enjoy not sweating here in the summer.
So that's obviously the biggest upside for you.
Yeah.
But what do you miss the most about Alabama?
I miss the food a lot.
I knew you were gonna say barbecue.
I mean,
You're my barbecue.
I'm a big dude. So.
You're my barbecue spirit guide. You're my guru of barbecue.
I'll take it. I'll take the title. It's like a weird thing that I'm into that not a lot of people know. But like, if I had not been a photographer, I wanted to go into meteorology, and so I'm really into the weather, and so. It's not that I really miss them, but it's like they don't have thunderstorms here.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it's kind of weird just to have this constant rain that, never really changes. You don't have really storms, you have storms per shoe, but it's all just the same amount of rain and all that. And also, having a sun actually go overhead at noon is normal. Yeah. But up here it's not. Like, it all just, you see it across a horizon.
It just kind of...
Like, it never goes over you. It's always in the distance. And so it really, for me at least, it's really messed up my, my clockwork.
Now, as a fan of weather, do you have the Dark Skies app?
I do. They gave me the Dark Skies app for free because I told them, hey, I want this app to take photos. Which was a total lie. It was just a cool app.
It's my favorite app. If you don't have Dark Skies, it's like up to the minute weather. Like, it'll be it's going to rain in 4 minutes, and then in 4 minutes it pours on you.
So if you're doing a photo shoot, I will actually plug it because it actually does really work.
It's great.
If you're doing a photo shoot somewhere, and you're like, man, it's pouring outside, we need this location. Pull up the app, you look at it, and you'd be like, all right, we got 10 minutes to kill, and then it's going to stop.
You know where it doesn't work super well?
Where?
Here.
Really?
Because of the way that rain comes in and kind of circles here, it can double back on you so quickly or whatever that it's not as... If you're somewhere in the middle of the country or even the East Coast or somewhere where
storms happen.
Yeah, it's a little... It works a little bit better, but it still does... We were on vacation here recently and it still worked great for that. Yeah. So you have a new book coming out called Continental Obscura.
I do.
From Birmingham to Bellingham.
It's Continental Obscura Volume 1. And so that volume is called From Birmingham to Bellingham.
And it is mostly, landscape, nature photos.
Yeah.
A lot of photos, Americana kind of stuff.
Totally. A lot of just found stuff along the way, weird roadside attractions.
Because you drove here, you didn't fly.
I did. I drove here in a single car with no trailer, just shipped everything out, and I knew that I was going to be shooting it anyways, just for myself and for Instagram, and so I was like, well, this is the perfect time to do a photo book of landscapes and everything that's not band related that I've been getting into. So.
Cool. Now, how did you decide on No Sleep releasing it? No Sleep Records is releasing the book.
I've known Chris for a while, and had a good working relationship with him, doing photos for them. I asked a couple people just to get their take on it and see who would want to do it. And Chris was definitely the one who was just like, hey, whatever you want to do, I'm down for it. I know you know what you're doing, and so we're behind you, and just do your thing.
Awesome.
And so having that previous experience to know that, you know, he'll come through as he needs to, then that was it.
I'm not going to edit that out.
That's fine.
See,
he has a laptop under this thing right now, and,
so
it's got the questions,
but
he forgot to turn off the energy saver, which you can do right now while we're talking about it.
I'd rather just not do it and
That's
keep
fine.
having to lean forward and put my password in.
So when you see a lean forward, he's putting his password in to open it back up. This is a professional interview.
That's how I do things.
That's all right.
It's being shot on my iPhone, so...
It's fun. Who gives a shit?
Now, you also got Manchester Orchestra and Minus the Bear to give you songs for a 7-inch that comes with the book.
Yeah.
That's a feat, man. Like, it's... Being in a band, I know it's not... Like, songs are not a commodity. They don't just pour out, and recording them and having a whole thing where you have a song ready for a release is a lot of work and a lot of trouble, and between your touring schedule and all that. So, you know, it must have been important enough for them to be able to give you a song. They must have felt highly or thought highly of the project. What was the conversation like with those bands and trying to get them to agree to give you a song for a 7-inch to go with this book?
Basically, I wanted to have something, since the book has no band photos, I wanted to have something music related to it. And so I was like, well, cool, I should put a 7-inch in, and then we'll have a southern band and a northwest band, so it's kind of one from each place that I've lived, or one from one place I lived and one from the place I'm going to be living.
That's a cool idea.
You know, and those two bands I have done photos for countless years, and was basically like, hey, like, I'm doing this thing, you know, do you have a song that I could use for it? And they were just like, absolutely. Like, surprisingly, both bands had been working on like a collection of B-sides that they thought about releasing at some point. And so they both gave me songs that were going to be on whatever is put out. And so the Manchester song has never been heard until you hear it on the 7-inch. The Minus the Bear song, I think it had like a 200 vinyl pressing in Europe, that they did it as like a promo thing.
Cool.
And so it's never been available as a digital version or on an American 7-inch.
That's really special.
What's funny is, the funniest part is the Manchester song was for one of those Twilight soundtracks.
Really?
And they just, I got, when we were doing all the press and everything to get ready for the book, Andy was giving quotes, and he was just like, we used it was for that soundtrack, but we're, a lot happier that it ended up on this instead of that horrible movie. So
I'm sure the people that commissioned them to do that for Twilight are stoked about it.
Whatever. It's a great song, so
yeah.
I'm sure Andy's not worried about it either. So.
I saw a shot of you put on Instagram the other day, shooting a Mastodon music video in a cave under, like 200 feet underground or something like that.
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000 feet underground. Can you tell me about that, and is that the weirdest place you've ever shot?
Probably the weirdest place. They were doing a music video, and they were doing one for The Wolf is Loose, another one for Colony of Birchmen. The same.
Where is the cave?
The cave is in Ruby Falls, Chattanooga.
Okay.
It's like near Rock City. It's a part of the whole tourism thing there. And basically, they were spending 4 days just knocking all the videos out. And so I was, there just to do photos for them of the process. And so, so we had to, the thing is though, you have to go after hours, because it's a major attraction that people go to. And so we got there I think at 6 or 7 on a night, and they decided that they were going to be servicing the elevators. And so basically we all went down the elevators 1,000 feet, and then had to walk basically a mile through caverns, pushing gear, loading all the equipment and everything. And then they were like, all right, we're turning off the elevators because we're having to work on them. So you can't take them back up.
So you're trapped in a cave more.
You're trapped in a cave, or they have an emergency exit that takes a mile of more caverns to get out.
Holy shit.
And so we were down there for at least 5 hours.
And there's got to be no natural light, right?
No.
It's all...
They, I guess whoever set it up in the beginning had electricity ran to the falls.
Yeah.
So there's a full lighting system that's for the falls. But, you know, they have generators and all that just because for the lighting for the video and all that. So I forget who directed the video, but it was pretty cool. So.
That sounds awesome. I have to go watch it now. And then you think that's probably the weirdest place you shot?
Music videos for
or just in general? You got any photos or anything?
I
know we shot stuff together in an abandoned baseball park, so that was cool. But I'm sure that you got a couple.
I mean, I feel like a cave underground is weirder.
Probably. Oh, definitely weirder. But I'm just trying.
Another strange one is when I was doing these photos of Davey Havoc for Macbeth. Like, we went to Davey's house and basically he just hopped in a hot tub, and we did this like weird pseudo glamour photo shoot of him in a hot tub. And even though that's not a very strange place to be, for me it was very surreal to be
in a hot tub with Davey Havoc
at his house in, you know, Oakland, or, you know, one of his houses, I'm sure. You know, and then afterwards we had cupcakes that his girlfriend made, and they were awesome. They were some of the best cupcakes I've ever made. I
don't want you to ruin this image in my head by telling me it's not true, because in my mind...
Whatever you think happened.
Okay, because in my mind, you had to get in a bathing suit and get in the hot tub.
Okay, that
happened. Don't ruin it for me. I want that to happen.
That didn't happen.
Well, we've shot photos together a bunch of times now, and you're the fastest at taking photos I've ever dealt with, any photographer. You're just like, you there, click, 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 next shot. And it makes it really easy and really fun to work with you. But how did you develop that style? Is a lot of people were like, okay, now this face, okay, now look this way, now feel this way. And you kind of have this like, shut up, smile, don't smile, look this way, done.
Yeah.
Because like, I kind of have this vibe that you have this feeling like, if we're gonna get the shot, we got the shot already. We don't have to do another 150 of these to get it.
Yeah, and for me, like, the style, I like really on-the-fly style, and so I don't want to do some awful setup where you have to spend 2 hours setting up lights and backdrops and props and all this stuff. It's more of a style of, like, when you go, like, you know, I've seen enough photography that, and, you know, obviously also shot as well, like, I know how it's supposed to look, and I know, you know, everything's in basically lines for me, and so I see the, you know, the geometry of everything, and know, all right, I need to turn it this way, this person needs to move this way, just to get everything clicking the way it needs to go.
Even this, Ryan was like, no, turn your phone this way, we're going to put it on this chair, this is how we're going to get the shot we want.
Like, he's trying to shoot a big dude down low, and it's like, I'm a big dude, you got to hide the gut.
And even that, I was like, well, I'm not really in it, so maybe we move the desk, and you're like, or you could just turn your phone. Like, that's why you're a professional.
It's either that or just really controlling.
You now have shot bands that, when you started working with them, had a number of successful enterprises, or they were working their way up, but
they had some check marks.
But are now gigantic fucking bands. And I'm talking about Paramore, I'm talking about Death Cab, I'm talking about Against Me. You know, from when you started shooting those bands to now where they have #1 records worldwide, selling out Madison Square Garden, they have full spreads in Rolling Stone, you know, they're in this soundtrack, they're at the Grammys. What's that like? I mean, I know that what's that like is the worst way to ask a question and my least favorite way to be asked a question, but just
and the most ambiguous.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. So let me try to hone in on that a little bit.
No, it's fine. I feel like I know what you're saying. It's kind of like,
does it make you have a sense of pride, or do you feel unattached to that and you're just happy for your friends?
You feel a part of a family, and, you know, there's definitely people that work with bands that, you know, like your sound guy, your tour manager, like that may be, you know, your tight, you know, mother, father, brother, sister kind of vibe. But then you have other people that, you know, it feels more like you're like a cousin.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's, you know, crazy cousin Ryan. I know this makes no sense to anybody watching it, but it's kind of like, when you work on projects, it's like your work family, your touring family, you know, everybody has their role, and so it's kind of like, you know, when Paramore needs certain photos, they know, all right, this is what we're needing, you know, Ryan's the guy for that. Or if Def Cab's like, all right, you know, we want these kind of shots, Ryan's the guy for that. And so it's all about having a role in certain people's, you know, we'll say band, but, you know, and whatever they're just working towards, and having your place involved in that. So,
yeah.
And so it's really cool to be able to say, like, all right, well, cool, you know, I met Paramore like in '07 on Warped Tour, like, you know, around right when Riot came out. And so the first photograph I ever shot of them, they loved it. I mean, literally, like, the first roll of film, they were like, we love these, can we make a poster? And it's all been, you know, growing since then. So.
I've heard a great story about Paramore and you, and I don't know to what extent it's true, but I've heard that they've been offered like magazine cover shoots or whatever, and they were like, yeah, we'll do it if Ryan can shoot it, otherwise no. Like, we only want Ryan to shoot us for this particular thing, and I think that's such a cool thing to stand by your friends in that way and say like, hey, big magazine guy, I know that you have your guy, but we have our friend and we're going to stand by him. It doesn't matter that we have a #1 record worldwide and we're selling out these arenas. What's important to me is that I love this guy's work and I love this guy as a person. He's going to be the one that works with us on this.
Yeah, and I think it's all just a trust thing. Like, you know, if when you work with somebody that long, I'm not going to ask them to do anything that's going to be uncomfortable for them to do. Mm-hmm. They know they're not going to be asked. And so, and you also, you know how to work with each other. And so something needs to be sped up or slowed down, or, you know, we need to have this, this, and this on site. You know, they know they're going to be taken care of. And so, I mean, for me, it's very flattering. I know that I've been told the same thing you've just been told. Obviously, there's no way to prove that if it actually happened. But if the story is true, that's definitely, you know, something that I'm very stoked on and flattered, and just, you know, I feel like at this point, there's a lot of bands that you shoot and you really like that band and you really glad that you worked with them. But there's also a couple others that like you feel like that this is part of your legacy, and so, you know, Paramore, Taking Back Sunday, Against Me, you know, I definitely think those are three that I have my niche cut, and it's like I have my place in the history of that band.
That's cool. And
so, you know, it's cool to think that if anybody ever writes about this band 20 years from now, like, you know, same for like Led Zeppelin or Van Halen or whatever, that you're going to be the guy they call because you have all the shots from all these years of them, and so, you know, it's cool to have, you know, years of archives like that.
Now, I love football, and I want to
love NFL football.
I really want to start watching college football.
Yeah.
And my school was Temple. You know, we're a D1 school.
Y'all have a football team?
But we're a D1 school, but we're not super great.
I've never even heard of it, so it's probably...
Bernard Pierce is a Temple guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that said, you're a huge Alabama fan, and I need to start watching college football and sell me on why I should be a Bama fan.
Do you like national championships?
I do, but I also like underdog stories.
So basically, you are wishy-washy.
Yeah, I guess that's the fact of the matter.
So then why don't you...
It's just, you know, it's like, the difficult thing for me is that as a sports fan, like, your tendency, I think, is to dislike a dynasty. Like, you want to, like, you don't want to like the team that always wins because they're so dominant. But I also just love good football. Like, people are like, oh, you're an Eagles fan, you must hate this team, or you must love this team.
Yeah.
And for me, it's always like, well, I just love good football. So I guess that's why I should be a Bama fan, because I love good football. Or... You should
be a Bama fan if you love like old school football. You know, it's a definitely traditional. Here's the ball, run it straight up to the middle.
Yeah.
You know, but it's one of those things where why do you have to like just one team? Like,
oh, agreed. I mean,
I feel like there has to be like a personal connection to teams. Like, you have to have a reason to like that team.
I just want to be able to say "Roll Damn Tide."
You can just.
I just feel like it sounds so cool.
If you need me to give you like a little membership card or something,
yeah, that would be great.
You're
allowed to say "Roll Tide."
And if somebody calls you out on it, just pull it out.
Ryan gave me this. Deal with it. I also like that the mascot's an elephant, but the team is the Crimson Tide, and there's just really no connection there. Why is the mascot an elephant?
Well, the mascot was originally an elephant. I have no idea if that's actually true or not.
The Alabama Elephants?
Yeah. I have no idea.
I like that.
That might be I think it's probably the opposite. The reason it's Crimson Tide is because when they come, you know, the defenses are so strong, when they come rushing at you, it's like a tide of red rushing you. And, you know, they want to say because of the jersey, but I want it to be like, it's the, you know, the weight of blood coming for the bloodbath, so.
Now, as a Bama fan, see, I really would like to get haha, Clinton Dix on the Eagles. I want to, if we have to
He's
move out
really
in the
good.
first round to get him, I want that safety
Yeah.
because he calls the defense, like he's the guy. Where do you want to see McCarron land?
I have no, I don't even know because I'm so just schooled in the NFL ways.
Yeah.
I feel like that if you can't put him on a team where there's a lot of dudes who can't buy into a program. Like if you have a, like you can't put him on a Kobe Bryant team or a LeBron team. You got to put him on a team where everybody on the team, no matter who the superstars are, they're down for working for the team.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that he would work on the Seahawks, but the Seahawks mentality where they're all together is the kind of thing.
Personally, of him going to Houston.
Yeah.
And
that's not going to happen.
Top of the second round.
It's not happening.
Just I feel like their defense is going to be, if they take Clowney, whatever. They're starting to sound check, so I want to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But I always wrap it up on a negative note. I always want to.
That's a horrible thing to say.
No, there are a ton of people out there, not totally negative note, but there are a ton of people out there that really would like to be you, that want to be a rock photographer.
I think they want to be a rock photographer.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to be me.
Okay, fair. They want to take photos, they want to go on tour, and so I'm sure that you've made some mistakes in your career, and I just want you to give them the biggest mistake you've made in your career so that they can avoid it. That's how we always end these.
If I can't think of a biggest mistake, can I just give a mistake?
Yeah, any mistake is fine.
And it's not necessarily, I think that I probably made it as well.
Any cautionary tale?
A cautionary tale is, everyone wants to talk about artist rights and getting paid for the work that you put in and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I've seen a lot of photographers, get really frustrated because blah, blah, blah used the photo and didn't pay. And it's like, that can be really infuriating. But, sometimes you don't realize that, bands don't have as much money as people think they do to be putting out on these photos all the time. Mm-hmm. And so, there's been plenty of shoots where I've done them for free when I was starting out, or with, it might be like a really small band that I just really love, and you do that and it builds a relationship where later on, when they are more successful, you're their guy. And so they're going to reward you being cool about it. And
Absolutely.
So, obviously it's a little hard to swallow when it's somebody that you don't really know that well, and you just happen to shoot a photo, but,
if it's for the homies.
It's for the homies, but, it can be for anybody. You just have to make sure that you keep in mind that it's not always about you trying to chase down money. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you can't do this and not get paid for it, not saying that you're going to always do it, but if you don't love it enough to be doing it, even if you weren't being paid for it, you probably shouldn't be doing it in the first place.
Yeah. That's the kind of DIY mentality that goes with the band, too. It's just like, you're not going to get paid at first. Like, just go out there and plug away and make a name for yourself and do people favors, play cool shows, be cool to people, and then eventually you start getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We're doing a handshake.
We've been
hanging out for literally 5 hours.
Well, fuck it, man.
So it makes it look funny that we're handshaking.
I know. Because you're not leaving either.
I'm not leaving.
No.
I
will say this. Roll damn Tide.
Roll Tide.
That's cool.
All right.
Thank you.